Hi, welcome to Go Off and Create the podcast. I'm your host, Cam, and we like to highlight people that go off and create. Today, we have with us a woman who has just literally climbed the highest mountain, or maybe one of the highest mountains, Mount Kilimanjaro. Angela, how do you go off and create?
I help leaders become better versions of themselves.
Ooh, I love that. So you just, in February?
Yes, February 15th.
Climbed a mountain. I want to talk about how did you get there? Like, what was the process of like, I want to climb a mountain to like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
It was a former executive coaching client of mine about 3 years ago was doing that for a monumental birthday for herself. And I love the fact, female CEO, and she would talk about mom, very active, and she wanted something that was really going to challenge her. And you've known me for a while, and every year I set a goal that scares me or puts me out of my comfort zone. And so I thought of Cindy, my former client, and I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. So I set that 8 months prior to going to Africa and built a plan and said, I'm doing it on my own.
Oh my gosh. And you did do it on your own.
I did do it on my own. Although family and friends wanted to try it with me, I wanted the entire experience to be solo so I could be in my head.
No, I think that's beautiful because I think being in your head is a beautiful thing because it gives you a chance to talk. I talk with God when I'm in my head. I just be having conversations with myself sometimes. So I think that's beautiful. You wanted to have that kind of like moment for you.
Absolutely.
And so how long was the flight to get to Africa?
It was 2 8-hour flights. And so then there were about 3-hour layovers. The first one into Amsterdam to Tanzania. And then it was on the way back, I stopped and was in Paris for a while, which was fun just to be in that airport for that time because I'm familiar with that airport. So I know there were shops available.
You're like, I know where to go.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing. So that was great. But yeah, the whole process of it and disconnecting and again, that space in my own head. And I was reflective as well. And had my conversations with God the entire time.
Yeah. I bet. I mean, how can you not look at that? Like to be in that element and not think like, wow, this is all God. Like, this is amazing.
It was. And there was also purpose behind it. So how am I doing something this year that's going to scare me? I also had significant change of 2 relationships in my life that were deeply close to me. And so I was also taking them up there to let them go.
Yeah.
And so it was a reflective time, but it was also a release. So that for me was incredible. But what was interesting is when I got to the summit, because of the elevation, I started to cry because that was the moment I was going to release. But I took a breath to cry. And at 19,300 feet, I was like, and I thought, I can't cry because you're slowly and methodically breathing up the mountain, right? And I was like, it was so anticlimactic because I'm ready to be like, these souls are on the mountain. And I couldn't, but they were. And so it was just this incredible process. It was beautiful. And 5 weeks later, I get emotional thinking about it because I'm so thankful for it. It was a cleansing.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I have this incredible new season of my life, and I'm just so grateful.
Oh, man, I'm grateful for you. That's incredible. So, I know you had to train to even prepare to even climb the mountain.
Yes.
How much training did you do before you went? Like months or?
Okay, Cam, you know me. So I had an 8-month training schedule. And I clearly figured out what was my current physical training. You know, I'm very passionate about that. That is my free therapy because that physical movement keeps your mind clear. And it has been since the first time that I think I got passionate about that 28 years ago. As I went through my divorce, I was like, this is what I need to be doing. So I wore out a $50 treadmill I got at Goodwill. And so that was, okay, how do I build upon what already is part of my life and then take it up? So I added altitude training through elemental training here, elemental altitude training. Chuck Sims, my coach through that. He's an former Ironman multiple times, but did that. And then how can I change aspects of my training, and then also purchasing equipment.
Yeah.
So prior to this, I am not a hiker. So I bought my first pair of hiking shoes. I have a spreadsheet on everything I bought. I can tell you what I spent on this entire journey and what I believe that return on investment is.
Oh, wow. I mean, if you want to share that information, you can. You don't have to. But that's incredible to do that much due diligence before taking the trip. But this trip wasn't just a trip. It was a spiritual and also a cleanse. I think that's probably why you might probably had this whole like, I don't know, routine. Well, also safety too. Like
Yes,
you do need to train. Like
100%.
us regular jugglers can't just go climb a mountain.
Exactly. And I also added friends who are, one of the friends, her husband is from Germany and a deep Euro hiker. And so they live here in Atlanta. And so every weekend we would go, and Marcus and Rebecca were absolutely incredible. Rebecca is started as a client, has become a dear friend. You know, that happens for me all the time. And then to get to know Marcus, and they would bring their 2 children. And so literally, as I look at the whole experience, I feel that there just spiritually were these amazing things and people, and my relationships went deeper. And then some relationships I had a different view of, of this, what does this bode me in this journey? And so I had a different lens to evaluate some relationships, and that was beautiful as well. Although just change. But again, my whole perspective on many things. I tell people when I was in Africa, I would tell them this was my adult walkabout.
Yeah.
And that was well received, like we understand. And I told our lead guide, Yaki, who hopefully he gets to watch this, he calls me mom. And they called me in the camp, mom or boss lady, is that I came here and you play this significant role. You have no idea. You're leading me on a journey and I trust you.
Yeah.
And so now I have this amazing person, son of such, who is asking me business advice or asking me questions. So each part of it was release of some things and adding beautiful things to my journey.
Oh my gosh. I love like divine interventions and stuff like that.
Incredible.
So like, you probably never thought about going there and impacting locals in that way, but now you have this like beautiful connection with.
Oh yeah. And then we had Samson. And so there were also, I would look up people's names or I would ask, and then my porter, Dennis. And so each of those people, because Dennis literally was doing the same route that I was, but carrying my pack.
Yeah.
And that I told him, and as they translated in Swahili, that he was carrying my burden. And so from that, he also has become very close. And I've desired and made some commitments to them, how I will help them, whether it's education through their kids or some things like that.
Oh, I love
because
that.
I just knew it was divine that they were there to care for me and get me up. And Dennis, the night that we summited, you're in the dark, you start at 11 o'clock. We had a snowstorm the night before, so it's about 5 inches of fresh powder, and all you have is a headlamp. I was right behind Yaki, so for 8 hours, I just watched one man's shoes.
Wow.
And so it was that pivoting and watching, and it was kept saying Meryl. And so the whole time I had certain things I just kept saying over and over again for 8 hours. But Dennis, when we would stop for a water break, would come up, and literally a complete stranger 8 days prior to doing that was wiping my nose. And so it was just this, and he would look at me or he'd rub my hands to make sure that they were staying warm in my gloves.
Yes. How can you not build connections with people that you're having these kind of like intimate moments with?
100%.
And you even said before this podcast started that y'all didn't get to bathe for 8 days.
It was rough. It was rough. Yeah.
So y'all
my
are out
braids, there. Yeah. It's like my braids locked. Right? Like I tell people, I'm like, when I was in the hotel trying to take them out, because I would brush them for the first 3 days. And then in 4, I was like, I don't care. So it was like these like trying to get everything undone.
I mean, we're very much not used to not having to have to tend to our hair like that. We don't have to wash it every day or anything like that. So I definitely can like envision What's
you
your
know
go-to?
me too, like, right? My personal hygiene is important to me. And so I was just like, I don't care.
Right. I mean, it's the least of your concerns, like being out there.
Yes.
Like,
And not having a mirror for 8
Yes.
days. Because I had a small mirror with me. And clearly you could use your phone, right? I would do a
Yeah.
quick. But one of the women, I only had 2 other people, Trek mates, both from the UK, work for Accenture, wonderful people. But the one woman wore contacts and she's like, I can't believe I forgot a mirror. And I'm like, I gave it to her and she was like, why are you are you don't want it? I'm like, please take it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have contacts. So it was all of that, which was an interesting experience culturally because they both were like from the UK Brit perspective.
Yeah.
They're like, you've been so giving to us. You've been so welcoming to us. Like, we are not accustomed to this. And
Yeah.
it was, so like each literally juncture. And there was one day where I just cried hiking and Yaki was like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm having such overwhelming experience of gratitude. Like,
so it sounds like you never had a moment of like, why did I sign up for this?
Well, 3 times I wanted to quit.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you want to hear? Here's when I wanted to quit. 3rd day into the Kilimanjaro National Park was, you get so far and they look at you and they're like, you're in.
Yeah.
So are you in or do you want to leave?
Mm-hmm.
Which was crazy because you don't think that that's going to happen, right? But the first day was hard. And in my head, I'm like, this is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I kept thinking about hiking with Marcus and Rebecca. And we had one day in Estes Park that we were in Colorado. And it was rough. Like one of those where in your head, you're like, I love Marcus, but currently I'm not feeling it for you, man, right? Like as a person's going through it. So 3rd day, but the first day we're watching this one group and I looked over and Yaki looked at me and he goes, those people they'll stop. And I go, really? They're going to spend all this money and they're going to stop. So that was the first time. The second time was the night of the summit is you're sleep deprived. You've done a hike in the morning. We tried to sleep, but with the snowstorm, they were beating the snow off our tent.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't collapse.
Oh my God.
So you really got no sleep with people hitting.
Yeah.
Right. So here are these amazing porters. They're on 24/7.
Oh my gosh.
So they're like keeping everything where you can try to get some rest. So we start out that morning or that night, 11 o'clock, totally dark. And in my head, I'm like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm in this great spot in my life, great person I'm with in a relationship, and life is great. Business is going well, everything. And I'm like, you're nuts, you're doing this. So for the first 10 minutes, I wanted to quit. Like and in your head, you're like, what's it like when you're the person that's like, can I get a helicopter? Right. They told us it's $3,500 US.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the second time, so I got through that, pushed through it. I just kept saying, focus on the back of his shoes. And I kept doing that. And then we got to the second part of the summit, which is the most dangerous. And Yaki turns around and says, we are entering the most dangerous part of the summit. This will take 3 hours. Okay. And so you're like, in your head, you're like, can I do this? Can I do it? And so we started, and 10 minutes into that, I said, I need to stop for a second. And I put my hands on my knees and now I talk about it, I'm embarrassed. I yelled at myself and said, Angela Dawn, you can bleep, do this, get it together. Mm-hmm. And everybody in the group stops like, she's lost it. And then I stop and I go, I'm good now.
Let's go.
Yeah. They're like, you're insane, but let her do this. And that was it. But it got so overwhelming because at that moment I looked over and there was darkness and there was white powder of fresh, no footsteps. Yeah. So it was like, this is falling and this is trusting. Right. And so it became then again, this just deep spiritual moment where I'm like, the whole time when Yaki was stepping, I would say, Abba, Abba, like Father, Father. Yeah. Like watching just feet. And I think that has become even more significant in my walk. Absolutely. Right? You're trusting in the unknown, really. 100%. Because you can't see. So 100%. All you see is what's before you. Right.
And that's life, right? You you only see what's before you, right?
100%. And to have those people I didn't know. So strangers of letting go, surrender, difference of food, difference of language, difference of not bathing for 8 days. Cam, you know me, you've been around me. I slept in a tent.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right?
Yeah.
With dirt floors. And I'm like, all of those experiences, people would be like, well, if you're really into that and hiking, that would have been like no big deal. But for me, it was a completely, how do I put myself out of something that is so far removed and different for myself in every single way?
Right.
And it's literally changed me. I tried to describe it, and my brother was like, I wouldn't say it was like a frontal lobotomy. That sounds like you ran away somewhere, but I'm okay with that because something left me that I wish I would have done this younger in my career.
It kind of makes me feel like you know how they say like you tear yourself down to build yourself back up? It's almost like that, like it's not a rebirth, but you definitely evolved from that moment. You know, it's like, hearing you talk about it's like almost like all the old you or whatever that was, you released it, it's gone, and now you have this anew.
It's funny that you should say that because last year's word, I always have a word for my year, and last year was Renaissance. So that rebirth, and then this year is torch. And so through that is, how do I amplify myself, not me, myself in others' lives. So how do I serve greater? And I think that's what I'm trying to accomplish this year.
And I would say you're not trying, you were doing. So you're welcome. So like after that experience, how would you say like that makes you a better person or a better leader or able to speak that into people to be better leaders?
It has, as you know, like peace and clarity and transparency of leadership are my ethos. Like that's how I want people to feel like someone values me so much as a human being. Oh yeah, I'm here for a job. Does that make sense? Right? Like where it's like, how is your experience? I'm responsible as a leader for how you leave the office every day or the organization. And so as I continue to try and do that, it's taken me to different levels of better listening, better understanding, places where I had a conversation with an executive coaching client today, and I said, may I ask, do we have to wrestle through the conversation of what you're struggling with? May I ask you a better question? Are you struggling with your confidence today? And she paused, and she was like, yes. And I said, so tell me, what made you not feel confident? And so I think that there's just by saying I went to a different place of peace, I also think I went to a place of even greater transparency and candidness. But safety in saying, let's just stop. What hurts you right now? Like, where are you feeling less than? And I think that torch also is when I said I want to elevate leaders as what do I do to create? I want to leave people better than. And there are a lot of leaders out there that leave people thinking they are less than.
Absolutely.
So torch, this experience has silenced, I hopefully almost killed inside me my ego of any kind, where it's not about me at all. Because that's what I aspire for.
Oh, that's beautiful. No, I think that's really important to be in this world, to try to like serve others. That's the premise of Go Off and Create. I feel like we're all creatives. We all have a skill or talent or whatever that case may be that has been graced unto us. And that we should put it back in the world to serve others. So it sounds like that's like what you're doing right now and trying to leave the world in some capacity a better place. Like wherever that involvement is, it sounds like that's what you're trying to do, in somebody else's life. And I think that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
And I would say, because of course I know you, I think you're an advocate for many things. And I saw that you are also an advocate for Kaizen. I think that's what it said.
Yes.
And so I thought that was really beautiful because Kaizen is what? Changing for the better?
Changing for the better, evaluating where you are, and then taking it and understanding what are the steps to get better results. I'm a logical thinker. I look at everything as an equation, but the equation of our behaviors. So what is the output that you're trying to achieve? And then what are the inputs of behaviors that you want to get to? And I did measurement of, what was my measurement of success for Kilimanjaro was to survive.
Right.
Right.
Right. And you did.
Not die. And then have this change. And so what was that requiring? So this scared, but I had to physically and mentally get to different places. I surrounded myself with even more people who have done physically and mentally really hard things to get to that. So it's not just the philosophy of, well, I want to be a better person. Many people say that, right?
Yeah.
It's putting in place the structure around you, the people around you, the systems around you that help you actually get to what you're seeking.
Like. Yes, that's beautiful. So have you already built that structure now, or are you still working on like what the people in that structure may look like for you?
Yeah, I think that I know I have. Like, for example, Chuck, my elevation training, he's become a friend. I look forward to, I'm going to be meeting his wife, just different things he's working on in business. And, I can't help it. But like, he's someone that will be in my life because like minds of the world, or like talking about different things, but helping in business. And then Yaki, like becoming like part of my family, and Samson and Dennis. And I get weekly WhatsApp messages from them. And it's just a, hey, how are you doing? And things like that. So I think experientially putting those different things in and being okay with life is iterative, right? I think sometimes we keep people, or I feel we keep people in there that don't help us get to the new results.
Yeah.
And for me, even in watching some of the change of relationship where I had to determine, I don't have time here if this person's not elevating me. Most importantly, it's not that, it's, are they elevating themselves? So I'm using a different lens of, do I have like minds? What's the saying? The five people you spend the most time with?
Yeah.
Right? Are they trying to elevate up? Because I believe that elevating up is elevating out to affect more people.
Absolutely. So I believe you said, like, you don't know what the next steps are. Like, does it involve, like, you don't know what the next steps are with your business or just in general?
I think the next step for me is I'm trying to figure out what's the next goal. Because the one thing in doing this is that you do become, I don't want to say an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
But I don't, because I thought I would go out to Mount Rainier. My boyfriend's parents have done that back in the day for them. And so they were instrumental in me preparing for this, both his parents, just in a lot of regard. So I thought, I'll do Mount Rainier when I get home in July.
Yeah.
And then after, like, I kept thinking, I'm going to die. I'm not. So I got to figure out, like, what else do I think I'll do it at some point? Probably. Because I want that, because they've done it. I think that's cool. But for me is, what is that? So physically, mentally, and I'm trying to figure it out, because what stinks is I got taken to such a place of inflection that there is just that new piece that I don't know. So now, do I do things that scare me? Yeah. Or is it flipping the mindset of what amplifies more? Does that make sense? Yeah. I don't think I have to be scared to amplify out. Right. Make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think it's going to just require you, like, really just looking in deep and, like, listening to, what he says to you. Yeah. What God made, because God puts purpose on your heart. So whatever is jumping out right now, or whatever you're confused about right now, it's like, I genuinely believe he will guide you to what it needs to be. And I agree with you. I don't think you need to, like, chase fear and that adrenaline that's wrapped up in it. Right. But there's something about you saying amplify, like, other people's lives. Like, there's something there. Yes. And I think that even going on the trip, like, the people you connected with, that wasn't even an expectation of yours, but I think it was purposeful. And 100%. You were meant to connect with those people. So almost like, where else are you supposed to connect with people to amplify them? Because in some way you are amplifying those people, so it might not be fear, but it's just like, who do you touch next? Like, and I know through this journey, and I do believe in this, just
people will say, well, the universe is speaking to me. And that was another thing when I went there is what else do you want from me? And so like, even when I flew from Atlanta to Amsterdam on the way into Tanzania, there was a little boy that went missing named Luca. And I'm like, even that, where I was like, I text my mom and I'm like, Mom, my mom's an incredible prayer warrior, be praying for Luca. And so like, these were just this, and hopefully everybody was in the airport, right? Because it was, you just heard this, like from parents and any of us that were just like, please, let's find him. Hopefully it's a lockdown airport. But even from the beginning of that on my walkabout was just each thing of really looking at it. So perhaps to your point, I'm looking at everything on a daily basis deeper. Yeah. And I do believe that as well. But it has become this excellent way. It's like I have this new sifter for what I tolerate or BS, right? I'm like, is there cat crap in the sandbox? That's really crude, but like, I'm a visual learner. And so I'm like, okay, this has to go. And then I'm like, this is good, right? And so hopefully I add that. I want to add transparency. I want to help people no, it's okay just to be really honest. Yeah. And I feel that one thing I feel with social media, what it's done, although this is utilizing social media, is are what you watching and what you're consuming, is it elevating you or is it bringing you down? Yeah. And so I think we all have to, hopefully people are more thoughtful for that, because we just need to love. And the greatest thing that I learned from this as well is love is just even more profoundly the answer. Absolutely. I think you don't realize, not you, but in general, people don't realize how much taking in a lot of information can affect your mood, even if you are in control of your emotions. Sure. Like seeing something happy or seeing something that's not so happy can do a shift in you. Right. So I do think seeing love is definitely important, especially if you're seeing a lot of stuff that's not so loving. Right. Also keeping in mind what you just said, thoughtfulness. I do think there is some struggle there. And so being thoughtful is not easy. And I've learned this just in people in my life that not everybody adapts to that as easily as some other people. And it's not that they're trying to be away and being not thoughtful doesn't mean you're a mean person, but it's just you realize like, oh, this is not an easy trait for everybody. I think it's not even easy. I don't think it's welcomed, because what's interesting is a transferable skill, or what I say are my ethos of leadership, to hear that from the porters, to hear it from my truck mates from the UK was, you're so kind, you're so giving. Like, I think it was the second night we were in camp, and you hear everything, right? We're intense. Yeah. And by everything, I mean, you hear everything, right? And so one of the porters, and here are 12 porters sleeping in one tent, right? Because what's a porter? Just really porter is all the people that are schlepping everything up. Okay. So we had 16 people for 3 women. Wow. So a mess tent, anything that was used for cooking, our water sources, the tents. So the porters come with very little because it's extra weight, right? So literally they may have 2 change of clothes, if that. So, but the porter kept coughing. And so the next morning went to Yaki and I'm like, Yaki, I am fortunate that I have a doctor who has written me every prescription in the world to be here. And so this person has bronchitis. And he's like, are you a doctor? I said, I am not. So I'm going to remove that. However, I have cold medicine for nighttime and I have antibiotics. I would like to give half of this prescription. And then like that person, that gentleman coming up to me expressing thank you, and so to hear kindness, helpfulness, and because to hear their stories of how people treat them broke my heart. Wow. And what they're doing is so important. Like their lives are just as much as risk too. 100%, but they're keeping people alive. Yeah. Can you imagine someone being responsible for your life and you're treating them ill? No. Like why would you do that? Right. And so like, I'm sitting here like, are you kidding me? And they're like, no, and so again, not that it was the validation thing, but people see us.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Turn off the volume and watch. And so all that reiterated, or I guess validated for me, or made me even know strongly, is your leadership matters. Even when you're not leading a company or an organization, your self-efficacy, your self-leadership, it matters.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have any advice for someone who might be at the base of their own mountain, figuratively?
I would tell people that, one, I hope you have people around you that breathe into you honestly as you start that journey, that you know that they have a pure heart for you, and that they want to elevate you up. I think I see younger clients who have some people around them that maybe aren't as pure as heart. I'm not saying they're malicious, but I think to have secure people around you that give good guidance, I think to really reflect for the individual if they're really ready for the challenge. Because as I gave the example today, is you can't be stuck in your gears. Like if anybody knows a manual shift, which everybody's probably watching, like, what is that? I drive a self-driving car. But if you had to change the gears on your own, I see people that they're stuck in their gears. Their life is not changing, right? And they're the common denominator, as you and I know. So have you really reflected? Because real change it's a break. And so I want to challenge people to really look at. When I let those two people go that I left on the mountain, I heard from one of them 4 days later.
Wow.
So are you willing to do the real work?
Yeah.
So the people around you that are positively breathing into that, and then are you really ready to do it? So I was physically ready to let some things go and look at the gift that came back to me.
Absolutely. Angela, I would love to keep this conversation going. Tell people where they can find you at, where they can support you at.
Angela Raub on LinkedIn. Would love for you to follow me, as well as ARC LLC, which is arcpositivechange.com. Thank you for letting me be here, but let me continue to be a part of your life and watching your beautiful elevation. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I think we're 10 years of knowing each other.
Yeah, at this point.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? Mind blowing. Like, oh my word. So it's so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And for Go Off and Create, you can follow us here on YouTube. So like, comment, subscribe. But we're also on Instagram, Threads, and Substack at Go Off and Create. Bye.
Bye.